Chapter 1 Create the Konoha version of Uchiha Madara. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Despair. Clatter. The sound of slow, deliberate footsteps echoed nearby, gradually approaching the gate of Konoha. The figure was tall, clad in red armor, black ninja boots, and gloves, with long hair cascading down past the waist. If Hashirama Senju, the first Hokage, were alive, he'd recognize his old friend instantly. But Hashirama was gone, and no one knew the identity of the figure in red armor. Tap. Tap. The figure continued its measured pace toward the village entrance. A gentle breeze rustled through the long, black hair, a subtle sign that the peace of recent decades was about to be shattered. Hold it right there. Who are you? You're not from around here, are you? Please state your business. The figure stopped before Kotetsu Hagane and Izumo Kamizuki, Konoha's gatekeepers. Ha! The red-armored figure lowered his head slightly, a contemptuous sneer twisting his lips. Then, to the guard's bewilderment, he raised his head, revealing a pair of scarlet eyes, each marked with 3 tomo. Instantly, Kotetsu and Izumo seemed to freeze, their minds blank. Tap. Tap. Ignoring the petrified guards, the figure continued into Konoha, unchallenged. Only after he'd passed did the two snap out of their trance. Huh? How'd we end up out here? Kotetsu and Izumo exchanged confused glances. They were utterly baffled. They had no memory of the encounter, unaware that an unregistered individual had just entered Konoha. The sun was high, the lunch hour approaching. Restaurants like barbecue joints were filling with customers. Civilians and ninjas mingled outside, a testament to Konoha's prosperity. But amidst this vibrant scene, a solitary figure walked along the main street. His dark eyes carefully scanned the people and the sights, absorbing the essence of Konoha. It was the man in red armor who had just entered the village. He paused, surveying his surroundings. Ah, a familiar yet foreign place. Madara Uchiha, witnessing scenes once only in his memories, smiled faintly. Originally, he was Chen Yiban, from another world, raised in an orphanage. He'd relied on the kindness of strangers to get through high school, but academics weren't his forte, so he dropped out and entered the workforce. Without a diploma, decent jobs were scarce. He became a delivery driver. His arrival in this world, transformed into a being of immense power, was the result of a traffic accident. While distracted by his phone, he'd been hit by a car. He died, but his soul was bound to an entity calling itself the Achievement Sign-In System. Before he could comprehend what was happening, the system performed its first sign-in, creation of Konoha, Uchiha Madara, combat power template. Since Chen Yiban couldn't respond, the system applied the template, transmuting his very appearance to match Madara Uchiha's. Then, it transported him to the world of ninjas. That's why he now stood on Konoha's bustling streets, observing the inhabitants. The change was startling, but Chen Yiban, now Madara, was amazed by his new power. He spent days assimilating the memories and combat knowledge flooding his mind, familiarizing himself with his new body. He also learned how the achievement sign-in system worked. He could sign in once a day. Anything was possible. There were no level restrictions. He could gain incredible power or something trivial like a pack of tissues. He already received a pack of tissues, much to his annoyance. Besides the daily sign-in, he could earn additional opportunities by completing achievements, for example, defeating, killing, or subduing powerful individuals. That was why he came to Konoha. He wanted to start making things happen. Konoha was just the beginning. Chen Yiban, now Madara Uchiha, possessing the complete power Madara held in the Valley of the End, felt an insatiable hunger for power growing within him. Chapter 2 A group of Konoha Jonin in the barbecue restaurant. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I realized Chen Yiban looked exactly like Uchiha Madara, right down to the red armor from the anime. He was strolling through the busy streets of Konoha, drawing attention just by walking. A lot of villagers were staring at his old-fashioned Warring States armor, and let's face it, Madara's appearance is already a showstopper. People couldn't help but turn their heads to look. He got a lot of attention. Chen Yiban, his waist-length hair swaying in the breeze, ignored the stares. He only heard snippets of conversation. It's great that Tsunade, one of the legendary Sannin, is now our 5th Hokage. They say she's the granddaughter of the first Hokage, the god of shinobi. Seriously. The 3rd Hokage's death was tragic, but at least we have a new leader. I heard the fifth Hokage only came back because of that demon fox kid. Yeah, Naruto and Jiraiya convinced Tsunade to come back and take the job. The villagers and ordinary ninja seemed both happy and a little sad, listening to them. Chen Yiban pieced things together. This must be when Orochimaru attacked and killed the third Hokage, and Naruto and Jiraiya brought Tsunade back to become the fifth. Hashirama, hearing that name mentioned by the villagers, Chen Yiban blurted it out, Senju Hashirama. The eternal Mangekyo Sharingan in Chen Yiban's eyes almost unleashed a torrent of chakra, transforming into Uchiha Madara, and gaining his power had somehow triggered Madara's memories. It was affecting him. Hearing that name ignited a crazy fighting spirit that he could barely contain. But, Chen Yiban quickly reminded himself that he was Chen Yiban, not Uchiha Madara. He calmed down. I'm Ben, not Madara, just then. Chen Yiban noticed something interesting. He spotted some familiar faces from the anime, based on his memory of them. He made some quick guesses: Akimichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, Hatake Kakashi, Might Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, Enko Mitarashi, Asuma Sarutobi, and a bunch of other Konoha Jonin were all there, especially Kakashi, the most iconic elite Jounin. He recognized them instantly. They looked just like their animated counterparts. It was like they'd stepped out of the screen. They didn't seem to notice Chen Yiban. They all went into a barbecue restaurant up ahead. Looks like they're celebrating the new Hokage. A bunch of Jounin buddies getting together. Didn't expect Kakashi to be there. Interesting. Chen Yiban smirked as he walked past the restaurant. Then, he turned around and headed for the barbecue joint. As he walked. Hey, doesn't that guy look a little familiar? Yeah, there's something about him, especially that armor. I feel like I've seen it somewhere before. He's kind of handsome, but his hair is too long. He looks unapproachable, doesn't he? He doesn't look like he's from Konoha. Do you think he's a ninja? The villagers and ordinary ninja couldn't help but whisper, watching Chen Yiban's long hair flowing behind him. Meanwhile, inside the restaurant. Finally, a chance to relax. That jerk Orochimaru had us Jounin running ragged. Now that Tsunade's back as Hokage, things are finally getting back to normal. Akimichi Choza, Nara Shikaku, Yamanaka Inoichi, Kurenai Yuhi, Kakashi, and others were already seated. Enko Mitarashi spoke first. Hearing Orochimaru's name, Asuma Sarutobi clenched his fists. Orochimaru, one of the legendary Sannin, was responsible for the third Hokage's death, and the third Hokage was Asuma's father. Kakashi, Kurenai, Shikaku, and the others understood Asuma's anger. They were also saddened by the third's death, but Orochimaru's attack kept them from grieving. Now that Tsunade had taken over, the village could finally breathe again. The Jounin had some free time to grab a bite together. The waiter brought out platters of meat for them to grill. Alright, enough talk, let's get to the barbecue. Enko Mitarashi grabbed her chopsticks and grinned. Akimichi Choza was already grilling. You're faster than me. Enko Mitarashi said, quickly putting meat on the grill. Enko's offbeat personality made the atmosphere lively and relaxed. Kurenai Yuhi smiled at her carefree best friend. That meat looks great. Mind if I join you? Suddenly, a voice cut through the chatter. Chapter 3 Shocked Kakashi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The sudden sound made Kakashi, Asuma, Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, Shikaku Nara, Enko Mitarashi, and the other Leaf Village Jounin whip around in confusion. There, standing behind them all, was a man in black, wearing red, wearing State-era armor, black gloves, and striking waist-length hair. Nobody knew when he'd arrived. When did he get here? Kakashi, Asuma, Guy, Kurenai, and the others were all stunned. He'd gotten so close without any of them noticing a thing. How could they have missed him? If he was an enemy, an attack would have been. The thought sent a shiver of surprise and unease through them. At the same time, they stared at the stranger, trying to figure him out. This man, who just materialized behind Kakashi and the others, was none other than Chen Yiban, now wielding all the power of Konoha's creation and Madara Uchiha. So, mind if I join you? Chen Yiban, in his red armor, long hair flowing, looked at Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, Kurenai, and the others around the table, a faint smile playing on his lips. It had to be said, Banye's looks and smile were off the charts. Even Kurenai couldn't help but admire his appearance. "Hey, who are you? We don't need any randos crashing our party." Anko Mitarashi propped her chin on her hand, eyeing Chen Yiban standing to the side. "Actually, you look kind of familiar. Like I've seen you somewhere before." "I feel the same way," Kurenai echoed. Asuma, Shikaku Nara, Choza Akimichi, Inoichi Yamanaka, and the other Konoha Jonin all felt a strange sense of familiarity at that moment. It was like they'd seen him somewhere. Of course, Chen Yiban looked identical to Madara Uchiha in appearance, attire, and shape. That's why he looked familiar. But for the life of them, none of them could place him. "Really? Maybe it's fate, then." Chen Yiban replied with an easy smile, thinking to himself, taking out all these Jonin would probably get me another sign-in bonus, right? His immense power gave Chen Yiban unshakable confidence. He carried himself with an air of detachment, as if above worldly concerns and everyone around him. "Wait, I got it!" Anko suddenly exclaimed, pointing at Chen Yiban. "That red armor you're wearing is a replica of the old Warring States period gear, right? No wonder it looked so familiar." She finally had a bead on what felt familiar about Chen Yiban, but Kakashi, who had been watching Chen Yiban closely, felt that it was more than just the old-fashioned armor that was familiar. "That's right," Kurenai added. "Aren't the giant stone statues of the first Hokage and Madara Uchiha in the Valley of the End wearing armor like that?" Those few words made something click for Kakashi. His eyes snapped back to Chen Yiban, comparing him to the stone statue in his memory. The more he compared, the more confused he became. His right eye widened slightly in disbelief. "No way, impossible." Kakashi started to question his own sanity. "So, you're into the old Warring States armor, huh? Well, if you don't mind, pull up a seat." Kurenai felt it was rude to leave Chen Yiban standing in the aisle, so, without thinking too much, she made some room for him. "Ahem. Here, pal, sit next to me." Seeing Kurenai offer her spot, Asuma quickly gave up his as well. He definitely didn't want Chen Yiban sitting next to Kurenai. "Okay, thanks." Chen Yiban, still smiling, nodded slightly. He moved to sit down, but then. "Hold on." Kakashi Hatake, his face a mask of surprise, suspicion, and disbelief, suddenly stood up and stared at Chen Yiban. Chen Yiban paused. "Who are you?" Kakashi's face was now guarded, his hand hovering, ready to form hand seals at a moment's notice. He felt like he was facing a serious threat. The atmosphere in the clearing instantly turned tense. "Hey, Kakashi, I hate sharing our barbecue as much as the next person, but you don't have to be so uptight, right?" Anko found Kakashi's sudden nervousness amusing. She had no idea the shock and doubt swirling inside him. Asuma, Shikaku, Inoichi, Choza, and the other Konoha Jonin looked at Kakashi, bewildered by his reaction. "Hey, Kakashi, what's wrong?" Even Guy, Kakashi's best friend, couldn't figure out his behavior, but Guy trusted his instincts. There had to be a reason for Kakashi's defensiveness. "So, your name is Kakashi?" "Yeah. What do you see when you look at me?" Chen Yiban smiled, an amused glint in his dark eyes as he regarded Kakashi. Chapter 4. Don't mention that person's name in front of me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. You're really impossible. There's no way he's still alive, let alone as young as you are. Kakashi Hatake stared at Chen Yiban, his face a mask of shock and disbelief. Nearby, Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma, Guy, Nara Shikaku, and the others watched Kakashi's increasing agitation and incomprehensible mutterings. The other Jonin were completely baffled by Kakashi's sudden strange behavior. "Kakashi." Nara Shikaku was taken aback by Kakashi's bizarre reaction. He turned his attention back to Chen Yiban, who had been interrupted from sitting down and was clad in red armor. Then. "Wait. You. Suddenly, a thunderbolt seemed to strike Nara Shikaku. He now mirrored Kakashi's stunned expression, staring at Chen Yiban in his red armor and flowing hair. "Shikaku, what's gotten into you?" Akimichi Choza, his eyes wide with confusion, glanced at Shikaku, who now wore the same bewildered expression as Kakashi. Kurenai Yuhi, Anko Mitarashi, Asma, Inoichi Yamanaka, and Guy also exchanged puzzled glances, until... Heh! Chen Yiban, whom Kakashi had prevented from taking a seat, chuckled softly, and then... Do you recognize me? You too. A pair of black eyes locked onto Kakashi Hatake and Nara Shikaku. Everyone. Kakashi scanned the surrounding Jonin. He seemed about to warn them to prepare for battle, or at least, to take defensive measures. The person before them might be the legendary Kakashi. What's wrong with you and Shikaku? Why are you acting so wary of this stranger? That guy scratched his head. But I trust Kakashi. So, tell us who you are, friend. Instantly, Guy's grin widened, his teeth gleaming as he fixed his gaze on Chen Yiban. As Kakashi's longtime rival, Guy knew Kakashi better than anyone. Therefore, Guy unconditionally trusted Kakashi's judgment. Guy became instantly wary of Chen Yiban. Beside him, Hiruzen, Asuma, Kurenai Yuhi, Shikaku, Inoichi, Choza, and the other Jonin also began to scrutinize Chen Yiban, except... Hey, what's with you all? Anko Mitarashi still felt like her comrades were acting strangely, until... Oh, you want to know my identity? I didn't expect that in just 70 or 80 years, Konoha would completely forget the figures of the Warring States period. Chen Yiban, adorned in his red armor and long hair, smirked. But it doesn't matter. You want to know my name? Very well. In this world, I permit you to call me. A faint, cold smile played on Chen Yiban's lips as he spoke to Kakashi, Nara Shikaku, Guy, and the others, but before Chen Yiban could finish his sentence. I knew it, you're... Uchiha Madara. Kakashi interrupted Chen Yiban. Hearing this, Anko Mitarashi, who had initially thought Kakashi and the others were simply confused, was instantly stunned. Her chopsticks slipped from her grasp and clattered onto the table. Kurenai Yuhi, Asuma, Akimichi Choza, Guy, all of them wore expressions of shock and disbelief, frozen in place for a moment. Even Nara Shikaku, who had already suspected something, looked at Chen Yiban in red armor with surprise and uncertainty as he heard what seemed to be a partial confirmation. You. Uchiha, Madara. You are. Kurenai Yuhi struggled to believe the name Kakashi had uttered, but at the same moment. That pose. The name Uchiha Madara sparked a realization in Kurenai Yuhi. Chen Yiban bore a striking resemblance to one of the two massive stone statues in the Valley of the End. She hadn't made the connection until now. But now. Chen Yiban, in Kurenai's red eyes, looked remarkably like the stone statue from the Valley of the End, especially the Warring States-era armor and the long, flowing hair. It was as if the stone statue had come to life. And the stone statue that Yuhi Han was thinking of at this moment was none other than the legendary Uchiha Madara. Chen Yiban. And Kurenai Yuhi was not the only one who had this realization. Aside from Kakashi and Nara Shikaku, who had suspected it from the start. Everyone, including Asuma, Guy, Anko Mitarashi, and Inoichi Yamanaka, now had the same thought. Then. Impossible. The legendary ninja, Madara Uchiha, died many years ago in a battle with the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju. Hiruzen Asuma suddenly stood up, dismissing Chen Yiban's claim. Guy, Kurenai Yuhi, and Mitarashi Anko nodded in agreement. How could a dead person be resurrected? However. Heisei, Rama. Hearing that name again, Chen Yiban was jolted by the near-complete memories of Madara Uchiha. A surge of terrifying fighting spirit and murderous intent erupted uncontrollably from the depths of his memory. Chen Yiban, now possessing Uchiha Madara, all memories, lost control of his murderous aura and fighting spirit the moment he heard the name, Senju Hashirama. No. Get back. Kakashi recognized Chen Yiban's condition immediately and yelled at the others to retreat. Being at least Jonin level, their reaction times were sharp. They instantly understood. Retreat. Don't mention that person's name in front of me. Boom. A massive surge of chakra exploded outward. Even though Kakashi and the others retreated quickly, they were still blasted through the walls by the force of the chakra, one after another. Ugh. They were all thrown out of the barbecue restaurant and into the street. What incredible chakra. This level of chakra is unprecedented. Nara Shikaku exclaimed in astonishment after regaining his footing on the street. Kakashi, Guy, Hiruzen, Asuma, and the others looked grim and solemn, then. This chakra is terrifyingly huge. Hey, Kakashi, could he really be? Guy looked shocked. Kakashi, kunai in hand, stared intensely at the shattered barbecue restaurant, his expression deadly serious. Inside the restaurant, diners streamed out in a panic. Eventually, even the owner and the staff fled. Anyone who didn't know better would have thought it was an earthquake. Just as the barbecue restaurant emptied. Hashirama. I've reached the other side. Chen Yiban was nearly consumed by Uchiha Madara's memories, his chakra and terrifying eye power were erupting. Roar. The next moment, a roar echoed through the street, boom boom. A blue Susanoo, third stage, dozens of meters tall, burst through the roof of the barbecue restaurant. It then proceeded to crush the entire restaurant under its feet. Seeing this scene, Kakashi glanced thoughtfully at the kunai in his hand. Chapter 5 Surprised Tsunade-hime kills the Hokage Rock Elephant with one sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My kunai feels pretty puny right now, facing off against this giant blue energy dude. Kakashi couldn't help but think, this is a bit much. He also wondered, Uchiha Madara, back from the dead? Seriously? Everyone was freaking out. No way. Kurenai, Enko, Shikaku, and all the other Jonin were totally stunned by the sudden appearance of this towering blue Susanoo. The whole street was chaos. Villagers were running every which way, scared out of their minds by this massive blue thing, the third stage Susanoo, just standing there where the barbecue joint used to be. Then, boom. Boom. The giant Susanoo took a couple of heavy steps forward, and standing right on top of its head, decked out in red armor, was Chen Yiban, looking down with this ice-cold stare at Kakashi, Guy, Asuma, and the rest. His eyes. Shikaku pointed up at Chen Yiban on the Susanoo's head. Sharingan. The other Jonin followed Shikaku's gaze and saw those eyes blazing with red light. Mangekyo Sharingan. And that pattern. It's him. It's really him. Kakashi frowned, a dark feeling settling in as he looked up at Chen Yiban. Meanwhile, back at the Hokage building, Tsunade was just trying to get some paperwork done. Suddenly, she felt a jolt, like a small earthquake. She jumped up and looked out the window, puzzled. Then, wah. Tsunade's eyes went wide. That's. Grandpa and Grandma talked about the Susanoo. Could that be it? Why is it suddenly here in the village? That she was totally caught off guard. Just then, whoosh whoosh whoosh, a bunch of ANBU ninjas showed up fast. Hokage-sama, we're under attack. They knelt before Tsunade's desk. Of course, Tsunade could see what was going on. Who are we dealing with? She asked sharply. We don't know yet, but he seems to be wearing armor from the Warring States period. Warring States armor. Tsunade was taken aback. She looked out the window again. Wait a minute, is that the two-faced, four-armed blue Susanoo? That can't be him, the one Grandpa fought at the Valley of the End. This can't be happening. Bang star. Tsunade, totally freaked out, slammed her fist into the desk next to her, smashing it to pieces. She realized something impossible might be happening, but she refused to believe it. It has to be a coincidence, she muttered to herself, but then, a massive, evil voice ripped through the air. Hashirama. The giant blue Susanoo suddenly clenched its fist, and a huge chakra blade appeared in its hand. It swung the blade down. Boom boom star. The terrifying slash sliced the first Hokage's face off the mountain in the distance. Even the second and third Hokage's faces were smashed. This power. Tsunade and the ANBU ninjas were already rushing out of the Hokage building, completely speechless. That one swing was as powerful as an S-rank jutsu. He's yelling Grandpa's name. Who is he? Tsunade wondered. Nearby, Guy was seriously impressed. What destructive power. Kurenai looked at the mountain and the shattered Hokage faces. The first Hokage monument and the others, gone. Enko, get to Lady Tsunade, tell her that someone who might be the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara, just showed up in the village. Kakashi ordered. We'll hold him off. Kakashi turned to Kurenai and Anko. Shikaku, Inoichi, and Kurenai, evacuate the villagers, protect them at all costs. Guy, Asuma, Choji, let's stop this monster. He spoke fast, issuing orders. Earth-style jutsu. Kakashi slammed his hands on the ground, rumbled star. A massive wall of earth rose up, trying to trap the Susanoo. Alright. Time to let my youth shine. Guy roared, opening his sixth gate. I just wanted some barbecue. How did this get so messed up? Anko grumbled, then turned and bolted for the Hokage building. Kurenai, Shikaku, and Inoichi scattered, either attacking the Susanoo or evacuating villagers. The giant wall of earth was heading right for it. Up in the head of the third stage Susanoo, Chen Yiban smirked coldly, his Mangekyo Sharingan blazing, then, swish, swish, swish. 3 more huge chakra blades formed in the Susanoo's other hands, 4 arms, 4 blades. Then, swish, boom star, the 4 blades lashed out in every direction, the giant earth wall was shredded to pieces. Kakashi's attack had failed. So strong. He muttered. Fire style, fire dragon jutsu. Asuma unleashed his fire attack. Chen Yiban, with his blazing Mangekyo Sharingan, just sneered, swish star, another simple swing of the blade cut right through the fire dragon. Down on a distant street, 12-year-old Sasuke Uchiha stared up, shocked. What is that? That he was staring at the towering blue Susanoo. Chapter 6 cut off Akimichi Dingza's arm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Sasuke was blown away by the sight of the massive, blue, two-faced, four-armed Susanoo in the distance. He quickly leaped onto a nearby rooftop, thinking, there's someone inside that monster. Wait, those red eyes. Sharingan. Even from that distance, Sasuke could make out Chen Yiban's glowing scarlet eyes within the Susanoo. And that feeling, it's like that guy. No. This is eye power and chakra even more terrifying than his. Especially that chakra, how could anyone possess so much? Who is he? Sasuke, only about 12 years old, was completely bewildered. As an Uchiha, he could sense the immense power of the Mangekyo Sharingan in Chen Yiban's eyes. Even from afar, he'd felt that power before. In the eyes of his older brother, Itachi Uchiha, it was a chilling, overwhelming, terrifying force. Now, suddenly, he was seeing the Sharingan in the eyes of a stranger, and feeling the power of the Mangekyo Sharingan, but even more so, it was stronger, colder, and scarier than anything he'd ever felt from Itachi. Sasuke was shocked and couldn't believe it. Besides him and the traitor Itachi, were there other Uchiha? He was secretly stunned. Did he have other clan members out there? And one this powerful? But Sasuke couldn't understand why this person was causing so much chaos in the village. Why now? When will my Sharingan? Without even realizing it, Sasuke saw that his double Tomo Sharingan had activated. Is it the Uchiha's eye power resonating? Sasuke became more convinced that this stranger was one of his own, just then. Drawn by a familiar eye power, Chen Yiban, who had been struggling to control the raging battle lust from Madara Uchiha's memories, snapped back to reality. Madara Uchiha's rivalry with Hashirama Senju was truly something else. A lifelong opponent, indeed. Just hearing the name, Hashirama Senju. Chen Yiban, absorbing Madara Uchiha's memories, had almost completely lost himself in the burning desire for battle. Fortunately, the eye power in the distance, that felt like it came from the same bloodline, caught his attention. It pulled him back from the brink. Floating above the Susanoo, Chen Yiban used the enhanced vision of his Mangekyo Sharingan to quickly see. That's Sasuke Uchiha. Chen Yiban immediately spotted Sasuke Uchiha on a rooftop in the distance and recognized him at once. Sasuke's look was pretty iconic, especially his clothes and clan crest. Even his hairstyle was instantly recognizable. Besides, Sasuke was the only one in Konoha with 2 Sharingan eyes. Sasuke, on the rooftop, was also staring at Chen Yiban in the Susanoo. The instant he saw Chen Yiban's Mangekyo Sharingan lock onto him, Sasuke felt like he was being glared at by some ancient, ferocious beast. he froze, unable to move. Ninja art, human boulder. At that moment, as Chen Yiban and Sasuke locked eyes, Akimichi Choza suddenly expanded to massive size, simultaneously. Mind Transfer Jutsu. Yamanaka Inoichi, from the Ino-Shikacho trio, prepared to use his secret technique on Chen Yiban within the Susanoo from afar, but, Shing, Chen Yiban's Mangekyo Sharingan merely glanced in his direction, and with that, Inoichi was instantly trapped in an illusion. Meanwhile, Nara Shikaku had used his shadow binding technique to restrain Choza, who was now rolling at high speed like a human boulder, and hurled him like a yo-yo toward the dozens of feet tall, two-faced, four-armed, blue Susanoo. But get out of here, Chen Yiban roared, controlling the Susanoo's third form to kick upwards with tremendous force, sending the giant meatball flying, and then, boom, Chen Yiban instantly formed the Yasaka Magatama, and had the Susanoo launch it at the massive meatball in the sky. Screech, the next instant, a huge arm was waving in the air, accompanied by blood. Ugh! Behind them, Choza managed to stop his rapid roll, but his arm was mangled. Choza! Kakashi, Kurenai Yuhi, Inoichi Yamanaka, Shikaku Nara, and the others cried out in alarm. That guy is seriously strong. Sasuke said from the high rooftop, watching in shock. At the same time, he was dying to know what kind of jutsu that giant Susanoo was. How could it be so powerful? Even Kakashi and all the other Jonin were completely outmatched. Who was this guy? Defeated and severed Akimichi Choza's arm, achieving a basic achievement. Congratulations on obtaining basic achievement draw X1. A system prompt, visible only to Chen Yiban, appeared in the void. Heh. Chen Yiban merely glanced at the system prompt with his Mangekyo Sharingan, then he smiled faintly. His scarlet gaze swept from atop the dozens of feet tall Susanoo, looking down at Kakashi and the others around him. Is this all you've got? Is that supposed to impress me? Not having absorbed almost a lifetime of memories and combat experience from Madara Uchiha, Chen Yiban inevitably picked up some of Madara's mannerisms, especially the way he talked. Looking at Chen Yiban's arrogance. Kakashi, Asuma, what do we do? He's too strong, Kurenai Yuhi frowned. Orochimaru's chakra would be like a Genin's compared to this guy. He's a monster. On her way to the Hokage's office at top speed, Enko Mitarashi turned back, her eyes wide with disbelief. The chakra radiating from Chen Yiban was insane. Meanwhile, Hatake Kakashi stared at the dozens of feet tall, blue Susanoo in front of him, and especially at Chen Yiban's chakra within it, and he couldn't help but feel helpless. That terrifying chakra felt like a humanoid-tailed beast. Don't forget about me. Konoha's blue beast is here. Check out my Morning Peacock. Chapter 7 Kakashi's Raikiri Attack. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Toward the peacock. A shout ripped through the air, a sound bursting with youthful energy. It was Might Guy, having just unleashed the power of the sixth gate of the 8 inner gates. Blue steam erupted from Guy's body as he prepared to face the giant blue Susanoo, pushing past his limits where others would fail. He was going all in, activating his ultimate move, toward the peacock. Boom, 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 his fists hammered the air, creating searing flames that mixed with blasts of compressed air. Like fiery red peacocks, the attack slammed into the Susanoo. The force of toward the peacock staggered Chen Yiban within his Susanoo third stage, pushing him back several steps, but, clang, reacting swiftly, the Susanoo's 4 massive arms swung chakra blades, obliterating Guy's peacock flame air cannons. Whoosh, the Susanoo instantly formed another 8 trigram ceiling style, flinging it toward Guy. Fortunately, Guy's speed and reflexes were at their peak with the 6th gate open, and he dodged the attack, unlike Akimichi Choza, who had his arm sliced clean off. Boom. Guy evaded the 8 trigram ceiling style, but the buildings behind him weren't so lucky. The attack pulverized them instantly. Just then, swish, 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 a wave of ANBU operatives arrived. Captain Kakashi, what's going on here? The masked ANBU captain landed, Stunned by the sight of the Susanoo, as he regained his composure, he questioned Kakashi. Medical ninjas among the ANBU were already tending to the injured Choza. They managed to stop the bleeding and stabilize him, but reattaching the arm was beyond their capabilities. Maybe if Lady Tsunade, their fifth Hokage and a master of medical ninjutsu, were here, there'd be hope. Hatake Kakashi, his face grim, said, "You might not believe it, but you have to. The enemy we're facing is the legendary ninja, Uchiha Madara." What? The ANBU captain and the other operatives were in disbelief. Kakashi's right. The man in there possesses the Mangekyo Sharingan, a legendary Uchiha clan Kurenai Yuhi added. Mangekyo Sharingan? The ANBU were shocked. They instinctively looked up at Chen Yiban inside the Susanoo's head. "Don't look into his eyes," Kakashi yelled. "The Mangekyo Sharingan's genjutsu is deadly." Nearby, an ANBU ninja tried to break the hold of some kind of illusion on the motionless Inoichi Yamanaka. The ANBU ninja performed the release hand seals, but Inoichi remained unresponsive, his eyes vacant. How? The ANBU was bewildered. "Ordinary ninjas can't break a Mangekyo Sharingan's genjutsu," Kakashi said gravely. The ANBU ninjas quickly lowered their heads, avoiding eye contact with Chen Yiban. Chen Yiban, observing the ANBU tending to Choza and trying to free Inoichi, smirked within the Susanoo. The Mangekyo Sharingan pulsed with an eerie red light. "No matter how many come, it's useless. I'll show you what real ninjutsu looks like." Perched atop the massive Susanoo, encased in red armor, Chen Yiban spoke with chilling confidence. Then, "Fire style, majestic destroyer flame." Chen Yiban formed the hand seals and unleashed a torrent of high-temperature flames from his mouth. Like a sea of fire, it crashed down on the ANBU ninjas, Kakashi, Kurenai, Asuma, Guy, and everyone else. "The range of this jutsu is incredible." Kurenai gasped. She, Kakashi, the ANBU, and other water-style users acted simultaneously. Water style, water wall. Dozens of ninjas formed seals and unleashed their water-style jutsu. Together, they managed to hold back Chen Yiban's majestic destroyer flame. Asterisk hiss, star, the air filled with blinding steam. Leaf whirlwind. Guy reappeared, his movements amplified by the sixth gate, and unleashed a powerful flurry of kicks. A tornado of wind swept through the battlefield, clearing the steam, but swoosh, a scythe flashed out, aiming for Guy's throat the instant the steam cleared. Chen Yiban had left the Susanoo and, wielding a scythe that seemed to materialize from thin air, attacked Guy. "Guy!" Kakashi cried out. Asterisk clang, star. Guy, with his heightened reflexes, defended himself. Even with his bare hands, the scythe still managed to slash across Guy's abdomen. Guy retaliated with a powerful kick, sending Chen Yiban flying. Chen Yiban landed on a nearby rooftop. He gazed down at the Konoha ninjas in the street below, singling out Guy. "Not bad. But you're not powered up enough to face me." Chen Yiban smirked calmly. Asterisk Chidori, star. The unmistakable sound of crackling lightning erupted behind Chen Yiban. Kakashi, having created a shadow clone to distract the enemy, had been preparing his attack. This was his chance. Kakashi charged forward, his lightning blade aimed at Chen Yiban's heart. Heh, just as shady as that Tobarama. Chapter 8 Tsunade-hime. How much strength did you inherit from him? You are listening at novelfull.audio. In a flash, Kakashi's Chidori slammed into the red-armored figure of Chen Yiban, piercing him through the heart. Kakashi Hataki's Sharingan blazed in his left eye. "Nice one, Kakashi," Guy cheered, but then, asterisk thwack, star, the Chen Yiban impaled by the Chidori dissolved into a puff of white smoke, disappeared. "What? This is bad." Horror gripped Kakashi. He desperately tried to backpedal, to retreat, but, asterisk swing, star. A tall, red figure materialized right in front of him, and, asterisk snatch, star. He recoiled as red blood welled up. Chen Yiban had just ripped Kakashi's Sharingan from its socket. Ack! Kakashi groaned in agony. Kakashi! Guy, Kurenai, Asuma, and the others cried out, scrambling forward to rescue him, but the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. A faint smile played on Chen Yiban's lips as he spoke to Kakashi. He didn't stop. His other hand, wielding a scythe, swung down towards Kakashi's head. Kakashi was strong, an elite Jonin, one of Konoha's best, but, he was facing Chen Yiban, imbued with the full power of Uchiha Madara. Compared to Chen Yiban, Kakashi was a toddler, weak, utterly weak. Kakashi was defenseless, the scythe was about to cleave his skull. Kakashi, Asma, Shikaku, Kurenai, and the others were desperate, but even Guy, who had opened the sixth gate, couldn't close the distance in time. Boom, then, Chen Yiban went flying. Kakashi. Hang in there. A figure, a woman, had appeared and kicked Chen Yiban away at the last possible second. She glanced at Kakashi. Kakashi, clutching his bleeding eye, looked up at her in stunned surprise. The fifth Hokage, Tsunade, the fifth Hokage, had arrived just in time. She knelt, covering Kakashi's bleeding eye with her hand, and began using her medical ninjutsu to heal him. The Sharingan was taken? She asked, her voice sharp. Yes. I'm sorry, Kakashi said, shamefaced. He looked at Tsunade. Fifth Hokage, the opponent is likely Uchiha Madara. Tsunade finished for him. Right? Yes. Kakashi confirmed, then, swish, 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 Guy, Kurenai, Asuma, and the other Jonin finally reached the rooftop. Right behind them, a wave of ANBU ninjas surged onto the scene. Anko, who had gone to alert Tsunade, was back as well. Kakashi, how are you? Guy rushed to his side. Hokage-sama. The others saluted Tsunade first. Everyone, stay alert. Tsunade ordered. Yes, ma'am. Kurenai, Asuma, Shikaku, and countless ANBU took up defensive positions, facing Chen Yiban. Meanwhile, in the ruins of a collapsed building, crash, a giant blue chakra skeleton hand burst from the rubble. Chen Yiban stood in the ruins, protected by the first stage of Susanoo. He held the scythe in one hand, and in the other, he clutched the three-tomo Sharingan he had just ripped from Kakashi's eye. Obito's Kamui Sharingan, poof, the Sharingan vanished, inside the achievement sign-in. System, Slot 1, Uchiha War Fan. Slot 2, Three-tomo Sharingan X9. Slot 3, Flesh and Blood of Azura Otsutsuki. Slot 4, Kamui Sharingan, Left Eye. The scythe had also been pulled from the system's storage. It is Susanoo, Tsunade murmured, frowning at the incomplete blue skeleton surrounding Chen Yiban. She quickly stabilized Kakashi's eye. He would have to fight with only one eye for now. Chen Yiban suddenly deactivated the first stage of Susanoo. Then, that pose. Could it really be? He looks just like the Uchiha Madara statue in the Valley of the End, that the ANBU murmured in disbelief. Madara. Tsunade's composure cracked. Who are you? That she clung to the hope that it wasn't really Madara resurrected. Chen Yiban's Mangekyo Sharingan locked onto her. When I entered the village, I heard that Hashirama's granddaughter became the fifth Hokage. Is that you? A woman, that he spoke softly, almost casually. So what if it is? Tsunade snapped. Leave Konoha. Or face the full force of our ninja. Tsunade's voice rang with determination, but her heart was likely less steady than her words. I just want to know, how much of that guy's strength did you inherit? Chen Yiban twirled the scythe, a cruel smile twisting his lips, then, whoosh, Chen Yiban, clad in red armor and wielding the scythe, launched himself toward Tsunade and the other ninjas. He's fast. Gasped one of the ninjas. Take down the invader. Tsunade ordered. A group of ANBU ninjas charged forward to meet Chen Yiban, then, bang, 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 a dozen ANBU ninjas were sent flying, spitting blood. They were kicked back harder than they had charged. Clang, one ANBU ninja struck at Chen Yiban with his sword, but Chen Yiban blocked it with his scythe, and with a single swipe of the scythe. Ack! The ANBU ninja was cut in half. Chapter 9 Yuan Fei Asmath Behead. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At that moment, deep in a hidden underground base. What's happening up there? What was that shock just now? Danzo, flanked by 2 root guards, demanded answers. It was clear he wanted an immediate investigation, but before the guards could move, swish, swish, *3 more root ninjas materialized. Danzo-sama, bad news. Outside. Panic etched itself on their faces. Stop your stammering. What is it? Danzo snapped, his eyes like ice. One of the ninjas blurted, Danzo-sama, it's Madara Uchiha. The legend. He's alive, and he's in Konoha, slaughtering Anbu. He's too strong. Kakashi, Akimichi Choza, even the Jonin are getting wiped out. The 5th Hokage, Tsunade-hime, is on the field, but it looks like nothing can stop him. The reports tumbled out in a rush. What did you just say? Danzo's composure shattered. Madara Uchiha. Meanwhile, above ground, the once bustling streets of Konoha were a war zone, civilians fleeing in terror, corpses lay scattered, all clad in the black of Konoha's Anbu, *clang, a towering figure in crimson armor planted a scythe into the blood-soaked earth. How pathetic, Chen Yiban muttered, surveying the carnage of the Anbu he'd cut down like wheat. Absorbing Madara Uchiha's memories had changed him. Life meant nothing, the ground was slick with blood, the air thick with its coppery tang. But Chen Yiban felt nothing, he was a demon, unleashed from hell. How is this possible? Kakashi, Kurenai Yuhi, Enko Mitarashi, and the others huddled near Tsunade, staring in disbelief. Unbelievable. He'd annihilated dozens of Anbu in under 10 seconds, slaughtered them. It was too fast. Kurenai and the others hadn't even registered his movements before they were witnessing decapitations. It was horrifying. Damn it. Tsunade was reeling from the display of raw power. She could take down dozens of Anbu, sure. But to butcher them in 10 seconds? Even she couldn't guarantee that. And Chen Yiban looked like he wasn't even breaking a sweat, his power sent shockwaves through the Konoha ninjas. Chen Yiban's Scarlet Mangekyo Sharingan narrowed, his gaze sweeping over the terrified faces before him. What's this? Not even the basic steps. Who are you? Tsunade roared. What do you want? Want? Chen Yiban repeated, almost dreamily, then, I'm taking back what belongs to Madara Uchiha. His words hung in the air, heavy with meaning. What? Tsunade, Kakashi, and the others exchanged confused glances. Once, a condition of the alliance between the Uchiha and the Senju was that I, Madara Uchiha, would become the first Hokage, as Hashirama himself promised. But in the end, he betrayed me. Chen Yiban seemed lost in Madara's memories, echoing the man's ancient pain. Nobody stood with me that day. Behind me, there was no one. Consumed by the memories, Chen Yiban felt a surge of anger and sorrow, his grip tightened on the scythe. Finally. Leave Konoha. All of you. I don't have to kill you. These were his final words. Konoha, it should have been Madara Uchiha's. Now, Chen Yiban would reclaim what was rightfully his, even if it meant claiming a fraction of Madara's immense power as a reward. Never. Tsunade roared, slamming a fist into the ground. Kakashi, Asma, Guy, and the others stepped forward, faces set with resolve. Even Choza, arm recently severed by Chen Yiban's Yasaka Magatama, now towered before him, having regrown in size after emergency treatment. Seeing their defiance, Chen Yiban fell silent. He raised the scythe, its blade gleaming in the flickering light. Thump. Thump, he advanced, step by step, towards the Konoha ninjas. The raw, unfiltered killing intent rolling off him was palpable. Some of the weaker ninjas recoiled in fear. A few even began to pray. Everyone, stand your ground. This is for our. Tsunade began, trying to rally her troops, but, whoosh, Chen Yiban charged, cutting off her pep talk. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Asuma yelled. Told you not to play games with me. Chen Yiban roared in midair, he sheathed the scythe within the system's storage space and bellowed. Fire style, majestic destroyer flame, asterisk boom, star. A colossal inferno erupted, a fiery tidal wave engulfing Asuma's meager fireball and hurtling toward Tsunade, Kakashi, and the others. Tsunade, Kakashi, Kurenai, Guy and the others dodged, narrowly avoiding the devastating flames. But the inferno consumed others, the unlucky ANBU and civilian ninjas who lacked the speed to escape, burning them to cinders. Chen Yiban retrieved the scythe from the system storage, asterisk swish, star. As Asuma stumbled back to his feet, Chen Yiban's crimson, demonic figure materialized before him. For a split second, time seemed to stop. Asuma's heart skipped a beat. He saw Chen Yiban's scythe arcing towards him and finally snapped back to reality, raising a kunai in a desperate defense, but... Chen Yiban's long hair swirled around his face as he grinned. Asuma's every movement was laid bare under the all-seeing gaze of his Mangekyo Sharingan, asterisk slash, star. The scythe's trajectory shifted, the downward cut becoming an upward sweep. A crimson line bloomed in the air. Asuma clutched at his throat, blood gushing between his fingers. Asuma. Chapter 10. The only thing that can be inherited is hatred. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Asuma. He gasped, blood gushed from Asuma's throat, his life fading fast until he collapsed. The anguished cry came from Nara Shikamaru. Right, it looked like the whole crew of the Konoha 12 had shown up. Shikamaru stared, shocked and disbelieving, at Asuma lying motionless. Asuma-sensei. Akimichi Choji and Yamanaka Ino echoed his disbelief. Asuma. Yuhi Kurenai, nearby, froze, stunned. Bastard. Might Guy, wreathed in furious blue steam, charged at Chen Yiban. Kakashi, reforming his Raikiri, joined the attack, flanking Chen Yiban. I already told you, you're not nearly powered up enough to fight me. Chen Yiban sneered. Still, he traded blows with Might Guy. Even with the sixth gate open, Might Guy couldn't beat Chen Yiban, but he was able to keep him busy for a moment. Then, Kakashi lunged, Raikiri crackling. He no longer had the Sharingan's insight to guide him, but at this point, it didn't matter. Seeing Asuma's death, Kakashi's own rage exploded, driving him to strike. He aimed to punch right through Chen Yiban. Humph, insect. Chen Yiban, still tangling with Might Guy, grinned, roar. A pulse of immense chakra and eye power erupted. Susanoo Stage 2 manifested around Chen Yiban, roaring to the sky, boom. The blast waved through Might Guy and Kakashi backward. Kakashi-sensei, Uzumaki Naruto, one of the Konoha 12 and star of the show, cried out, watching the scene unfold. The bodies on the ground. Naruto was rattled. That's... Uchiha Sasuke was close to the battle as well. He finally got a good look at Chen Yiban. You, Uchiha Madara. Sasuke recognized him. Aside from the giant statues of Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the Valley of the End, as an Uchiha, Sasuke had seen portraits of Madara in the old clan compound. As the strongest Uchiha ever, many clan members revered Madara. So, Sasuke knew exactly who Chen Yiban was. Impossible, the legendary ninja Uchiha Madara, shouldn't he be? Sasuke couldn't believe the dead legend was standing in front of him, and he was his own ancestor. What kind of crazy thing was happening just when he was about to go find Orochimaru? And that power. The guy was seriously strong. Sasuke gaped at Chen Yiban, who was practically toying with Kakashi, Might Guy, and the other Jonin. Snake-hidden shadow hands. Mitarai Anko launched her ninjutsu, poisonous snakes shooting from her hands at Chen Yiban. Pathetic. Chen Yiban scoffed. Susanoo casually waved, easily dispersing the attack. Your time is running out. Get out of Konoha, now. Chen Yiban delivered the ultimatum. He glanced at Naruto and Sasuke, the reincarnated Asura and Indra. They were shaping up pretty well. Chen Yiban made his decision, though he didn't show it. Meanwhile. Stop being so cocky. You jerk. Tsunade suddenly launched herself into the air, her fist slammed into Susanoo Stage 2. Crack. The second stage wasn't strong enough. Cracks appeared under Tsunade's punch. Oh. Chen Yiban feigned surprise. Hashirama's strength of 100 seal technique? Too bad you haven't mastered it yet. Whoosh, Susanoo instantly repaired itself. How can it be fixed? Tsunade growled, frustrated. She was ready to go at it again. But, bang! Susanoo's huge hand formed a massive chakra sword and swung it down. Tsunade had to leap back. Just because you're a gambling addict, don't think you're Hashirama. Even if you're his descendant, Chen Yiban, arms crossed inside the blue Susanoo, sneered at Tsunade. The strongest thing I inherited from my grandfather, is the will of fire. Tsunade yelled. The will of fire? Chen Yiban raised an eyebrow, then scoffed, what a joke. What's truly inherited, is hatred. Chen Yiban's voice dripped with meaning. Who is that guy? And what's that blue thing? He's seriously strong. He can actually take Grandma Tsunade's punches. Naruto exclaimed. Shut up. Might Guy appeared behind Susanoo, attacking from behind. Boom. His kick slammed into Susanoo's back. The force was as strong, or even stronger, than Tsunade's. 2 new cracks appeared in Susanoo. What's gonna happen? Sasuke worried about Chen Yiban, just then. Earth Style. Times End. Kakashi had gathered every Konoha ninja who knew Earth Style. They unleashed their techniques on Chen Yiban. Rumble, row after row of massive earth walls, earth balls, and earth blocks shot from all sides, trapping Chen Yiban and Susanoo in the center. Kakashi and the others no longer cared about the houses around them. Everything was being buried under earth. Chen Yiban calmly gazed on the scene with his Mangekyo Sharingan. Boom. Finally, the massive Susanoo, crushed under the weight of mountains, was sandwiched between the rows of earth walls. Dust and smoke billowed. Now. Tsunade signaled, instantly. Fire Style. Every ninja who knew Fire Style unleashed their techniques on Susanoo and Chen Yiban trapped behind the wall. Nara Shikamaru, still mourning Asuma, glared hatefully at the point of the combined attack.